Welcome everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to do a tier list about the cores in Pokemon champions that can win the World Championship that is going to start in 3 days. Thank you very much for watching, your support is greatly appreciated, leave a like and subscribe, and as you can see, this is a tier list that exists on the website, but I added a bunch of cores that were really missing here, because the tier list only had until here, and they didn't have, like for example, Delphox or other forms of rain, no Frostlass. I think it was really limited, so I decided to put a bunch of new cores, and also this is not just about who's going to win, but also interesting cores that can make decent runs, or cores that were good in the past or were popular in the past, and we still might see them at Worlds, but they're a bit smelly, they're a bit stinky. You know what I'm saying? Let's get started with... Do we do this by order? We do it by order. We're gonna start with the ones that were already here. So we have here Ninetales plus Gengar, which is from mostly using teams like this one here with Mega Gengar, Sneasler, Instinct, Kingambit, Ninetales, and Dragonite. And basically you want to use Perish Song, of course, and then Encore. Sometimes the Gengar has the Sable, or the Ninetales has the Sable, and then you go back and forth. Sometimes the Ninetales has the Aurora Veil, but usually it has been like that. Choice Scarf, Ninetales, Freeze Dry for the Basque Legends and the Water types, Icy Wind to reduce the speed so you can have a more bulky or more powerful Gengar and then use it. But I think that it's not a very strong core, but it's not super weak as well. I think it's matchup dependent. I think it's also very hard to use. Like somebody in my stream was saying, Perish Song is very mental taxing to use. So for both players, but if you are the one using Perish Song, you're going through that mental stress every single game. So I think it's very much matchup dependent, and it's very much like, can you handle it as the player? Can you keep going? Can you keep being focused? So I think it's very matchup dependent. I think it has great matchups. You have weather control. You can take sand away, sun away, rain away. You can take everything away. If the opponent, if they don't have a lot of ghost types, they stuck on the field, and then you can go Disable Encore, Perish Song, Protect, Aurora Veil, make the game really slow. Then we have Instinct in the back for Intimidates and Fake Outs, and you have Sneasler for Fake Out, making things even slower, and you can have a really bulky Gengar behind the Aurora Veil, but if on the other side there's like a Charizard Y and a Garchomp, and the Ninetales is not Scarfed, or it's not full speed, and it doesn't outspeed the Garchomp, or the Garchomp protects and the Charizard sends a Heat Wave, I think it's very hard to use this team, you know? And I think we're not going to see a lot of this team, but I think the right player can make a deep run with it, but it's also very matchup dependent. That's why the tier is over there. And by the way, I forgot to mention the tiers that we have, the favorites, teams that will make a deep run and have a chance, matchup dependent, slightly fallen behind, would be very surprised, and we could also like used to be good, you know, or old archetypes, but I think that wouldn't give much context, you know. So Ninetales and Gengar, I think there is a chance where this core can win, but it's very difficult and it's very unlikely, because not only it's very matchup dependent, like I said, but also the player using this needs to play perfectly, and you will get insanely punished if you commit any mistakes here. Next up is Protect the Queen with Floette, which is slightly fallen behind. That's my opinion, by the way. I want to know your opinion in the comments down below. I think this core used to be really strong. I think people are so much prepared for this core. There are so many options. The Gengar itself is great into Cini and Floette. The Sneasler is getting to Floettes. It's great into Incineroar. Staraptor, Delphox are great into those. It's true that Staraptor does take super effective damage from Fairy type, but it's great into Incineroar and it's great into Sinistcha. And I think overall, everybody, it doesn't matter whatever team they are using, they know how to counter this. It's a bit the same with the Charizard cores, but we'll get in there because there are a bunch of them, as you can see down there. But I think, and by the way, I have some duplicates because I made some of them wrong, they look weird, and I couldn't delete them, so They're there. We're not gonna duplicate them, of course, but I can get rid of them. I think this core is still strong. I think it can go far away if they make something different in the team, if they bring something unique, like they keep this core, then they have something very unique that people are not ready to deal with, that not only supports the Floette, but also can do damage in itself. Because one of the scenes of this team is like, in Floette we trust. And sometimes that's not enough, because then you have a bunch of support systems that if the Floette doesn't do the damage, they can do it, you know? So I think you still have to respect it. Floette can still do a lot of damage, especially if it goes Calm Mind and then it's healed by the Sinister, then you have Redirection, Intimidate, Fake Out, or perhaps Tailwind with Whimsicott or with the Aerodactyl, but I think it's falling behind. I think it can still have a chance if they maybe make a different stat spread for the Floette. If they use, I don't know, Adamant Incineroar Life Form and it does so much damage, people are not ready for it, something like that, like something crazy needs to happen for it to win. But I think people still need to respect it. Is it something you need to prepare and like your team needs to know how to answer that? Maybe. I think if you don't prepare for that, there are, I think, in general, a lot of Pokemon that can answer that archetype, and I think that's why it's fallen behind as well. Next up, Raichu's Staraptor. And those guys, they have a chance. They can make a deep run, and they have a chance. Because that core is really balanced. There is a reason why it was so popular on the ladder and in tournaments. Didn't have like amazing finish in tournaments, but I think it's very easy to use, quote unquote. You can make a lot of different things with this core, and it's like they cover each other very well, right? Raichu goes after the Basculegions, after the Charizards. Staraptor can get boosted by Whimsicott, by itself, can set up Tailwind, can go for Roost, takes care of Kingambit, Incineroar. It's immune to ground type attacks, which is the only weakness of the Raichu if you think about it. Raichu can make other Pokemon can make other Pokemon slow. It does a lot of damage. It's super fast. Has Fake Out. Can have Encore. Bro, it's like so many things. Like it's so many things, and mostly, not only it's like they can do a lot of things, they do a lot of damage, and that's it. They do a lot of damage. Close Combat, Brave Bird, Zap Cannon, Focus Blast, great coverage. They do a lot of damage. They go very well into many different matchups, and they basically have the whole metagame. They have the whole metagame in their hands. I think the only thing they don't have super effective damage against is Mega Delphox, but a Brave Bird from Staraptor I think almost always kills. So, you know, and then Raichu can hit a Zap Cannon and make Delphox slower, so I think that team has a really good chance. Maybe they are the favorites. I'm just not placing them in the favorites because they have not been having great results in tournaments recently, you know? Next up, Staraptor Whimsicott. I think they also have a great chance to go, and just because Tailwind from the Whimsicott, so you don't need to have it on the Staraptor, you can have Roost or a weird coverage move, and then buffing the attack of the Staraptor. Because usually, Mega Staraptor without Whimsicott, they boost themselves with Close Combat, which boosts their defenses, not their attacks. But Whimsicott can boost the attack of the Staraptor, then can go for Encores, can use the moves that boost the Staraptor to debuff the opponent, can even run Fake Tears, or a Light Screen, or a Rain Dance, or a Sunny Day to go against Rain because of Archaludon. So it's not as impactful as Raichu Staraptor because you have more options, and both of those do a lot of damage, but it's way more Staraptor centric, but it can go it can go crazy, because like I said, you can buff the Staraptor and debuff the enemy using the Whimsicott. Then you can have an Incineroar or whatever to bring more support, or a Sinister for redirection and healing, but buffing the Staraptor and debuffing the enemy, it's a great combo, and that can go really far, but it's not been so much used recently, because I think it was very used as well. People really got prepared for it. Next up, we have Star Fox. Now, Star Fox, they can have a great chance. I think Mega Staraptor is one of the best Mega evolutions. Raichu and Delphox as well. I think Raichu and Delphox are a bit below Staraptor, but if you put them together, they go crazy. What's the cool thing about those Pokemon? They're both immune to ground, but they're both weak to rock as well. But rock is not really present that much, so it's okay. Delphox can do a lot of damage into things, and great balance. I was just thinking about Archaludon, for example. Delphox is a great special attacker, and Staraptor is a great physical attacker. So Delphox can take care of threats that the Staraptor doesn't like to go against, like Archaludon. Delphox gets a nasty plot, starts heat waving. Staraptor can go for matchups where Delphox doesn't like Incineroar, King Gambit, Basculegion, for an example. And I think it requires a bit more careful play. I think it's not so safe, and it doesn't cover as much. And this is from my experience and a bit vibes as well, because I think any of these cores can win worlds. And it really depends on what is the metagame and how the player that is using that core is playing, right? If they're playing really well, they can go here with a Weedle and win. Okay, that's not really like that, but you get the point, right? But I just think it's a bit more difficult because Delphox is way weaker to Basculegion and King Gambit, for an example, than the Raichu is. Raichu actually covers those Pokemon, while Delphox becomes weak to those Pokemon. And then Raichu can also just Focus Blast the Arch, but Delphox has like Nasty Plot, Heat Wave, Substitute, Psychic, so it hits different things, but I think it's a bit more frail and it requires more calculated play, so it's not gonna be as easy to use, and the trainers that are using will not be that much. I think that core is not going to be so much represented, but for a reason it became popular and it got a really cool name, Star Fox as well. And I think, unironically, I think that's the order of the Staraptor cores for right now. I think Starchu is the strongest, then Whimsicott Staraptor, and then Delphox Staraptor. I prefer Delphox Staraptor than Staraptor Whimsicott, but I think Whimsy Staraptor is stronger. Then we have the classical Regulation MA Beast, Charizard, Garchomp, and Aerodactyl. And instead of Aerodactyl, it could be Whimsicott, for an example, right? I think it's fallen behind, but it's like fallen behind from being the favorite. So it goes here. I think it's not as strong and dominant as before. It's still very common in the grassroots tournaments, but it stopped going to the finals. It stopped going to the semifinals. A lot of people still uses this. For, like I said, you change the Aerodactyl for the Whimsicott, for example, and it's still very, very powerful. Charizard-wise, I still think it's the most powerful Mega Evolution. Garchomp might be the most powerful non-Mega Evolution, especially with a Life Orb addition. What is the problem for this card? Everybody knows how to beat it. Everybody prepares for it. Everybody makes specific stat spreads to beat a Charizard, or be faster than the Garchomp, or Undertale win something because of Aerodactyl, or because of the Whimsicott. Everybody knows how to prepare. Everybody will be prepared for this core. I guarantee you. This core might make a deep run, but I think it's not going to the finals. That's why I'm not putting it in the favorites, because I think it's like everybody knows how to beat it. It's simple as that. It's still very strong. It's still super good, super versatile. They can go so well into many matchups, but people are ready. People have been making specific Pokemon to beat that. And I think that's going to be a downfall. And I was thinking that maybe Staraptor Raichu would be one of the favorites. I don't know, like I said, they didn't do great in tournaments recently. That's why I don't want to put them there, but I want to. Okay, for right now, I might change my mind, let's go. Then, we have Charizard, Farigiraf, and Incineroar as in a support. I think it's matchup dependent. I think It's very interesting because you don't need to have speed on your Charizard, and then you can punish Garchomp, Aerodactyl, or Tailwind teams with your Trick Room. Also, you are immune to priority like Accelerock, like Sucker Punch. You have Intimidate, Fake Out, Thunderbolt to hit other Charizards, to hit Masculegions. You intimidate the Garchomps, but it lacks something. It lacks some fuel. It lacks some sauce. Like, I think it could win, but it would require an amazing run. And I think it's matchup dependent. Because I think the other Charizard cores have an advantage. Because here, the only advantage you have is speed control, which is amazing in Pokemon. But I think it's lacking that power. Because we have Farigiraf and Incineroar, the others have Sneasler, Garchomp, Basculegion, you know, Aerodactyl. There is more damage there. And interestingly enough, I think this beats that, but it doesn't beat the rest that this beats. You know what I'm saying? In the 1v1 they'll beat the other one, but the other one beats the rest of the metagame, which is very interesting. And as always, I want you to tell me what you think about this, about my evaluation, and do your own tier list, let me know what will change, and subscribe to the channel, leave a like, it's greatly appreciated. I think it's very interesting. For me, it's one of the most interesting Charizard forms. I'm so tired of this one, of Charizard, Garchomp, Aerodactyl. I'm so tired of seeing that, but I think this is interesting with Trick Room and Incineroar. It's a bit different. You buff the Incineroar's Flare Blitz, so you can put a Charcoal or a Life Orb on the Incineroar, and then Flare Blitz in the sun with Charcoal or Life Orb. It does so much damage, it's incredible. And then you actually have Throat Chop or Darkest Lariat for the Basculegions. It beats the King Gambit. It's pretty good actually, but it's very matchup dependent. I don't think it does well into a lot of matchups that exist out there. Also, I don't have a lot of experience with it or by watching it, so I might be lacking some information that would put higher. So if you have anything to say in defense of Charizard Trick Room, let me know. Next up, Charizard Toxapex. I love that. I hate playing against it. Totally hate it. I loathe playing against it, but it's I think it's so funny. It's so hard to beat because in one side you have Nuclear Bomb, on the other side you have Nuclear Bunker. So it's so hard to beat one or the other. And usually players get lost because they have to choose. Do I disarm the Nuclear Bomb or do I destroy the Nuclear Bunker? And you can do the one but not the other. It's very hard to do both at the same time. Usually when that team loses is when there are a lot of mistakes. Now, a big powerhouse against that is Garchomp with Rock Slide. Because it beats the Toxapex with Earthquake or Stomping, and it beats a Charizard with Rock Slide. But I was considering placing it in the favorites. Yes, I think so. Yes. I think, because it's, like I said, it's so hard. You have to choose. Go after the attack or go after the defense. And many times if you choose the one, you can do the other. I think that's so difficult to respond. That's so difficult with the tools that we have available right now to do so. It's so difficult. The steel types that are immune to the poison get wrecked by the sun, and the ones that beat the sun, you just poison them or infestate them and wait. And then switch into Incineroar or to another bulky Pokemon we have in the back. And then Toxapex has Regenerator and Leftovers. It's so difficult. And then usually here the Charizard is a bit bulky, so it can also stay on the field for longer while Toxic, not just Poison, Toxic and Infestation do their job. I think it's a very strong archetype, and I think it's one of the favorites to win Worlds. I think so. I feel really that. I really feel like that. Maybe it's for the same scene of Chomp and Dactyl, which people are ready for it, but I think it's harder to beat that even though you know it's coming, even though you played it 1,000 times, I think it's still hard to beat. I think so. People might find something new. You know what I'm saying? People might find something interesting. Okay, then we have Charizard Rain. I think people are also very prepared against it. I think it's very interesting, but sometimes you have an end game that perturbs one or the other. Where something went wrong and then you have a Charizard in the rain, or you have a Swampert in the sun. It's hard to use perfectly or well. It's very, very powerful, but I think it's still very strong. It's one of the strongest. I'm not placing them in order here. The Staraptor are in order. I guess Charizard Rain is stronger. I guess it's like this. Because people are very ready for Charizard, Dactyl, and Chomp. But I think they're not so ready for Charizard Rain, and I think it's harder to beat Charizard Rain than it's to beat Charizard, Chomp, and Dactyl. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But of course this is very powerful. Charizard with Hurricane sometimes. Weather Ball can work in the sun or in the rain. You know. Then we have perhaps an Archaludon in the back, or a Swampert in the back, doing insane damage if the Charizard is not on that matchup. It's a very complete archetype. But I think it has more countermeasures than people realize. You know what I'm saying? Next up, one of my favorites, and I think it's one of the favorites, is Delphox, Blastoise, Cini, or support in general. I think it has great coverage into the metagame. Delphox and Blastoise can set up, they can do so much damage, spread damage, and then you have Dark type damage, Fire type damage, Psychic type damage, Water type damage, Redirection, Healing. Favorite for me, somebody in YouTube chat saying the Charizard Rain, maybe. Yeah, Delphox, Blastoise, and Cini for me is one of my favorites. I said it. I think they're gonna win Worlds. I said it in a tournament chat. I said it in a post on Instagram. I think in Pokémon, of the Pokémon page. I said that I think that's the ones they're gonna win Worlds, because then you have Mousehold as well. I think we have like Sneasler for more Fake Out, or Incineroar for Fake Out and Intimidate. And then it's so difficult to even do the team preview, because Delphox and Blastoise are very, very complementary, and they can do a lot of damage to a lot of the metagame. They are both good into Charizard, if you think about it. Yeah, somebody on YouTube chat also thinks that Delphox, Blast, and Cini wins World. Me too. I'll put them here. Here in first, Charizard, Toxapex in second, and then Starchu. Yeah, bro, I don't know. It's so complete, it does so much damage, and then sometimes the Delphox has Substitute. Sometimes he shall smash Blastoise as well, can go crazy. You know, the thing is, you don't need to set up. Sometimes the Floettes, like here, it feels like they need to set up. Like here, you don't need to set up. Blastoise with Water Spout still does insane damage, and then you can heal it. Delphox Heatwave, Psychic, does a lot of damage, fast as hell, immune to ground, you know? Oh, there's a Rock type, it's okay, I have Sinistcha, I have Blastoise. And remember, this is best of 3, so you can really adapt. And I think this team allows for the best of 3 performance. I think so, it's so versatile. In one game you can go one mode, on the other game you can go the other mode, and you can, even though it's the same team, it's completely different. I think it's so powerful, so much damage. And then the Cini sometimes can have Shadow Ball. Cini can have so many items as well. It's so hard to prepare for a good Cini, a good Sinistcha. It can be extremely bulky. It can do some damage. Colbur Berry, Cassir Berry, Healing, Colbur Berry, Oka Berry. You know, so many things. It's so hard to prepare versus a good Cini. Then it gives great support, then can get burns with Gacha, can heal, can redirect, some crazy lads using Strength Sap. That's true, Basque Legions, King Gambits, no, King Gambit? No, because it will boost it, but you know those strong physical attackers? Out of commission, with the burn, with Strength Sap, with redirection, and like it's so good into many things. I think it's great into every single weather. Even though you don't have weather, you know. Next, speaking of weather, rain. Rain. Classical rain. Peli, Arch, and Swampert. I'll be surprised. I think it's very powerful. No, okay. Slightly falling behind. I think that's the best. Slightly falling behind. I think we need a new tier here, because I think in between matchup dependent and teams that will make a deep run and have a chance, we have a chance. Not, you know, have a decent chance. Polar, red, Orange. There you go. Have a decent chance. I think Rain fits in there. I think Rain fits in, have a decent chance. It's not like they can make a deep run and they have a chance, they have a decent chance. Because it's Rain. It's very powerful, right? Swampert in the rain gets faster, it's like a powerhouse. Archaludon, very hard to defeat, gets stamina boost, electroshot, special attack boost, Pelipper, Wide Guard, Tailwind, Weather Ball, Hurricane. It's pretty good. It's just not been doing good in ladder, it's just not been doing good in tournaments, but like it has a chance. You have to prepare against it. If your team has a bad matchup against Rain, you'll not win Worlds, you know? And I just don't have an explanation of why it has not been performing well. I guess because Charizard is so relevant, because in theory it has a good matchup, right? You have the Arch for electric type damage, you have water type damage, ground type damage, flying type damage, you have a lot of coverage, but it's not been working. You know? But I think it's really, really powerful. I think people can't turn a blind eye to it. You know what I'm saying? It's cool, it's cool. I really, really like it. I really, really like it. Next, Italian Snow with Frostlass, Lycanroc, and Scovillain, and that's basically the anti-Charizard team. And that's why I think it has a decent chance, because on its own it's a good team. Frostlass is powerful, it's fast, it's interesting, but this team is made to beat Charizard. And if Charizard is not going far into the tournament, this team can struggle versus the other archetypes. So, you know, that's the thing, in my opinion, that makes Italian Snow not so strong. Is the fact that it's made to beat Charizard. So if you don't play versus Charizard, it's more difficult to you. You know what I'm saying? I think it's still very interesting. The combination of Frostlass and Scovillain. Scovillain is very interesting. Can redirect, can Leech Seed, can burn any Pokemon. Lycanroc, it's a very interesting Pokemon. Tough Claws, Rock type priority, Rock Slide, Close Combat. Frostlass, it's fast, he has Ice and Ghost type coverage. The Scovillain is a great counter if it can get the burns into the King Gambit and the Basculegion that are a problem for both Lycanroc and the Frostlass. But I think this team is too much focused on beating Charizard. And if we think that Staraptor and Raichu and Delphox, Blastoise and Cini has a chance, the team that focus only going after Charizard, I think it loses a bit more chances. You know what I'm saying? You know, I think that's it. Then we have Sand. Pure Sand. Slightly fallen behind. I will be surprised. I'll be surprised if T-Tard Excadrill wins. I think it's too simple. I think, and it can be Mega T-Tard or normal T-Tard like Choice Scarf T-Tard. I think it's too easy to counter. Because you just need some redirection, you just need weather control on your side, and they lose all the gas. They lose all the power. Mega T-Tard still hits like a truck. Excadrill very fast in the sand. They have the Focus Sash, great into Fairy types, great into Charizard actually, because T-Tard doesn't need the sand to be the Charizard, but Excadrill needs. And usually they have Corviknight or whatever, you know, it's a bit different. And I think it's not ready for Worlds. I think Excadrill T-Tard are not ready. I'll be very surprised, even if they make a deep run, but I still think they can do it, that's why they're here. Because if somebody finds out a good teammate, a good item combination, that allows them to do better into other weathers like rain or snow, I think this can really surprise us. That's why I'll be very surprised if they actually make it far, because I think it's just too simple. I don't think they have enough power, they don't have enough juice, you know? Next is the original Edu team, which is Perish Song. As you can see, Perish again, matchup dependent. That's normal Swampert, Mega Gengar, and Vivillon. And that team is very hard to play against if you don't have the right tools. If you have Ghosts, if you have Dual Wing Beat with priority, if you have Redirection to redirect away the Sleep Powder, because Vivillon is not a Grass type, so you can use Rage Powder for an example. Vivillon is Bug Flying, and then the Grass type is not affected by the Sleep Powder. If you have a King Gambit, if you have a Basculin is okay, but or Incineroar, it's very hard for the Gengar to do its job safely. And I think that team can do something interesting, but it's so much matchup dependent that it's crazy. You know, it's really matchup dependent. It isn't actually Perish, chat is saying. Ah, interesting, but still, the Gengar, I think Gengar itself is very matchup dependent. It's a very good Mega Evolution, I think, but I think it's very matchup dependent. And it's base Swampert, it's not Mega Swampert, because you want to use the Mega Gengar, always. And then base Swampert, it's really good because into Mega Raichu. It's also good into Archaludon, because you can still use ground type attacks. You are immune to Electroshot, for an example. Vivillon is very problematic, with Sleep Powder, Hurricane, always hitting, and usually it has Focus Sash or the Choice Scarf. Choice Scarf is really annoying because you can outspeed many things, and they can set up Tailwind as well for your Swampert or for the rest of the team, and then it's just offensive Gengar doing a lot of damage. But these days there are not a lot of offensive Gengar. People always put some bulk into the Gengar because it's so frail to begin with, and then very good into the Swampert, very good into King Gambit, which is a threat to the Gengar. That ground type damage can put the King Gambit to sleep or protect the Gengar and go for an Earthquake. But I think it's very matchup dependent. I don't think it's gonna go very far. I don't think so. I think it's weird. I think it feels weird. The Gengar feels weird, but in the right matchup, in the hands of the right player, can be this really box full of surprises that it's very hard to stop. Next, T-Tar Frostlass. I'll be very surprised. I think we have to respect it, because Sand and Snow are two weathers that are not very common, especially them together, so people might not be ready for it, but I think it's easy to counter. And I think T-Tar is just too weak to many things. First, to fighting, right, but it's the Sneasler, it's the King Gambit, the Basculegion, because if you can get the knockoff into the Basculegion, you can beat it, but Basculegion can survive, and it usually will go first because Tailwind or because Choice Scarf, and does so much damage. But I think these guys are much better than just normal Sand, for sure, much better. But I don't think they fit well into the metagame. I don't think the power that they present is that powerful. I don't think they are impactful enough. They are both weak to King Gambit if you think about it, which is not great. But I think they are interesting. I think they are interesting though. And it's one of my favorite archetypes. I really like the combination. It could be Mega T-Tar as well, keep that in mind. I really like that combination. I think it's really interesting. But I think it's very hard to use, because then you can have perhaps Excadrill there as well with that Sand and Ice combination. Sand and Snow combination, sorry. You could have Aurora Veil, and you can still use normal T-Tar. You don't need to always make it a T-Tar, so it can be behind Aurora Veil. And if you then that's the thing, that the Frostlass is immune to the fighting types, and the T-Tar is great into the Ghost and Dark types that threaten the Frostlass. But I think I think it's not going to be strong enough. I don't think they have what it needs to make deep into worlds. Now, our next one is one of my favorites as well. I think it's super interesting and I think it has a decent chance, which is Mega Frostlass and Mega Dragonite. I think it's really interesting. I think Mega Dragonite recently has been finding more users and more success. Multi-scale is always very good, and you can have inner focus first, so you don't get flinched, and then you Mega Evolve, and you get multi-scale, or you can just have multi-scale in the start, and then it's really cool because Dragonite can use the rain in its advantage for Hurricane, or it can sit behind Aurora Veil, it can basically you not bring them to the same matchup, but normal Frostlass, you don't need to Mega, can still go for Aurora Veil, and then you have Mega Dragonite with multi-scale behind Aurora Veil. Then you have Dragon Pulse. Dragonite has a bunch of coverage, which can cover the weaknesses of Frostlass, and then it's basically for matchups, right? Frostlass takes care of the Garchomps, for example. Dragonite is a great matchup into Charizard because it resists it, and Charizard usually has fire and grass damage, so it can beat the Dragonite, and Dragonite can go with dragon damage or a thunder, or can be normal Dragonite and not physical and go extreme speed or breaking stripe. That's not great into Charizard, but it can be life form Dragonite that can do a bunch of damage as well. But I think Mega Dragonite, specifically Mega Dragonite, has been finding more people that enjoy using it, and I think especially in combination with Mega Frostlass, it can make it difficult for you to do the team preview, because they are good into a lot of different matchups, and I wish they do well. I would like to see that archetype present in Worlds and do something interesting, but I think that in the end of the day they'll not go far. I don't even know if people will use this archetype, but I would like to see it, and I think there's a decent chance. I think it's really interesting. Another interesting one, it's Frostlass and Blaziken. This one is a bit more difficult to use, but it's an extreme powerhouse. We have the physical and special damage combination. Blaziken actually great into Charizard, because you're faster than it, and you have Rock Slide or Rock Tomb to do damage into it. You can one-shot Archaludons with close combat. Flare Blitz does insane damage into everything that the close combat can't knock out. And then you have the Frostlass for weather control, for Staraptor, for dragons. Actually, this one is very interesting. People are sleeping on this. I think it's much better than Dragonite and Frostlass. I think people are sleeping on it. I really think people are sleeping. I would say it's better than Rain, actually. Crazy as it may sound. I think Italian Snow is better than Rain, but not better than Frostlass Dragonite. But Frostlass Blaziken, it has a decent chance. Keep your eyes open. This can really surprise a lot of people. It's a really good combination. Really good. Because then the Blaziken doesn't need to be Mega, because it still has speed boost as its ability when it's not Mega. So you can bring the Frostlass, Shadow Ball, Blizzard, Aurora Veil, and have a speed boost Blaziken always there, getting faster and faster, and it still does a lot of damage with Flare Blitz and close combat. It's really good combination. Really good combo. Keep your eyes open. Then we have Trick Room and Mega Mobile. I think it's fallen behind. I think Trick Room is hard to use in this specific environment, in this specific matchup, in this specific metagame, I mean, sorry. And I think Trick Room, they don't have enough tools to sustain themselves. And if you make a mistake, Trick Room is over in 4 turns, basically, because the turn where you use it doesn't count, right? So, and I think Mega Mobile has too many counters, or the Charizard is everywhere. That's the counter. Those are the counters, right? And I think it's really hard for Mega Mobile to do something outside of Trick Room, and it's very predictable. You have one game mode, and you have to do it. You don't have another option. And I think Mobile hits like a truck, can be very, very powerful, but I think Trick Room in itself is very hard to use in this metagame, and I think Mega Mawile disappointed a lot of people. I think a lot of people were expecting Mega Mawile to be stronger and more popular, and I just think Charizard being too popular make it very, very hard to use, and Trick Room in general is not very strong to use. But still, respect it. It can do a lot of damage. Next we have Charizard, Whimsicott. I think it has a decent chance. I think it's not as powerful as the other Charizard cores. I think it's stronger than everybody in this lane here, because it's Charizard and Tailwind, and then you can go for a Light Screen, Anchor, you can Fake Tears the opponent, and then Heat Wave at will. Charizard, because you have Tailwind, you can invest in a lot of bulk, or in a lot of special attack. You don't need the speed, because you have the Speedwind behind, you have the Tailwind behind you to boost your speed, but it's a very, very old archetype, and people are very, 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 very ready for it, and it's harder to counter Charizard, Garchomp, and Dactyl than it's to counter Whimsicott and Charizard, but I think it's still you have to very respect it. You have to respect it a lot. It can do a lot of damage, can get out of control, because you can't even protect or fake out. Charizard protects, or Whimsicott protects, and then it's Anchor City. And that's very hard to deal with. And then not only you have to worry about Anchors, you also need to worry about Solar Beams, Weather Balls, Heat Waves coming in your direction, boosted by the sun. You know what I'm saying? Respect that. It's really strong. Then we have Trick Room with Farigiraf, Sylveon, and King Gambit. That's the classical Trick Room core. Sorry about that, I didn't notice that the King Gambit wouldn't be seen. Should have been in the front line with more presence of its yellow parts. But it's very much dependent. Once again, Trick Room very hard to use, but with Sylveon and King Gambit, you have more options, it's more versatile. Of course, this team could be that team. You know, that core could have the Mega Mawile in there, but also other stuff, like an Incineroar or a Sinistcha or other Mega Evolutions that do well in Trick Room. This is representing Trick Room in itself, and that's why I say it's matchup dependent, because it can still do well, but you need to play really, really well, and you need to play kind of perfect and not make mistakes, because if you make mistakes, Trick Room is counting down, and it's very unlikely that you're gonna get a second Trick Room. It can still very hard to counter if you don't have anything that resists the King Gambit on the Sylveon. If you don't have a lot of protection on your team, or you don't have a way to slow down the game, they can demolish you in the Trick Room, but I think it's easier to waste time and to resist the damage of the Sylveon and the King Gambit. You know what I'm saying? King Gambit itself is a great counter to Trick Room. Next, we have Sun Room. And Sun Room, I think it's a different beast. I think it has it has the slightest chances, okay? Which is Farigiraf, Camerupt, and Torkoal. It has like the slightest chance, but I think it can do it. It's gonna be epic. It needs to be an extremely good player. It needs to be even lucky on the matchups. It needs to make zero mistakes, but this can be so fucking powerful. We have weather control, we have speed control, we have sheer force, power coming in from a Mega Evolution, and one of the things that is very good in Mega Camerupt is a ground special attacker, which is super important in this metagame, specifically to beat the likes of Archelodon or other steel types. And it's so valuable, but it's so hard to use. It's so hard to use. And you really have to commit to that mode. Maybe you can have a Tailwind mode with the other three, like Charizard, Whimsy, or Staraptor or whatever. But, like, I think this has a chance. It's... Of course, it's weird that I have Floette here, and then I have a Trick Room there. But I think this is more powerful than Floette by itself, with just the support of Incin and Cini. Because it is like, it can totally destroy you, you know? And people are running Ancient Power on the Camerupt to beat a Charizard as well. and then Torkoal in the sun with Eruption, and then Sun Eruption from both Torkoal and Camerupt. Good luck with that. It's a lot of damage, but it's once again Trick Room, hard to sustain. You make a mistake, it's very easy to be punished, and it's really weird. Now, we have this here, which is the Mega Barb, Mega Pyrower, and Mega Crabominal, which is gimmicky or surprise stuff. Because I think somebody can come in with a Mega Pyrower team and not take it all, but make a deep run. Because I think this matchup, this metagame, people think it's very done and very defined. But I also think that there is room for surprises. You know? There is room for a Pyrower, a Barbarnacle, a Barbaracle, I mean. You know? I think there is room for something to catch a lot of people off guard. Like Wolfie did with Steelix, for an example. You know what I'm saying? I will be very surprised, but that's the point. That's the point of gimmicks, right? Of this weird combination, Vileplume in the sun, you know, Mega Houndoom, Mega Pyrower in the sun, Mega Barbaracle with Stealth Rock, Trick Room with Mega Crabominal, Trick Room with Goldark, Mega Bumasnow, Mega Dragalge with the Regenerator, you know? And I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Next, with a decent chance, Mega Redactyl and Floette. I think, of course, it's better than Trick Room. It's better than Frostlass Dragonite. But it's not better than Rain, I think. But I think it's really powerful. Because Floette is walled by Fire and the Steelix, and the Redactyl beats that. The problem is they both wall into Steel types. They both wall, but I mean the Floette can deal with the Steel types because it's basic. When we say Steel type, it's Arch and King Gambit, which they take neutral damage from Floette. And then Aerodactyl takes care of the rest basically, and also you cannot Mega Aerodactyl and still go for Tailwind. You know, so I think this can surprise people. I think people might be like, "Oh no, that's something from the past," but I think it's powerful, and I think it's like straight to the point. It gets under your flesh, it gets under your nerves, and I think it can do a lot of damage. And you can go like very bulky Floette and then Tailwind, you know, or you can go Wide Guard to stop water spouts, to stop heat waves, to stop blizzards. And non-mega Aerodactyl. So this can present some variability, some flexibility, and the Floette just does a bunch of damage, right? It's really strong in that aspect. And I think Aerodactyl can surprise a lot of people, lads. Keep your eyes open for that. Then we have this combination here, which is Sun Tail Room. And then Tail Room, I think there's a decent chance. I think it's better than all those here. Even better than Rain, I think. Even maybe better than Italian Snow. Because you can make whatever team you like. You can have Whimsy +2 for fast mode and Farig +2 for slow mode, and then you can have the Pokemon that you want under Tailwind also work under Trick Room if the other team has Tailwind or faster Pokemon than you. So it's very flexible. You can make many different types of teams. You can make teams that benefit from being slow and from being fast, so you can have powerhouses on both sides. You can have a lot of speed, and then you stop priority. You have Encore, you can have screens, you can have fake tears, you can have good damage from the Farigiraf, and then it's best of 3, so in one game you can go Trick Room, the other game you can go Tailwind, you always leave your opponent guessing. I think Tail Room is very under the radar, and I think it can surprise a lot of people. I think a lot of people can be caught off guard with Tail Room. I don't think people are thinking about it, because you can just put whatever you want in there. And if you think about it, none of them are Megas. No, the Whimsicott and the Free Ref, they are not megas. So you can choose whatever mega you want to go slow or to go fast. I think that's really interesting, and it's a power factor that people are not thinking about. You know what I'm saying? Next, I really like this core, which is a little Ninetales, Mega Glumora, and Komowo. And this is very weird, but it has the same advantage as the Whimsicott and Freegraph, which is you can put any mega in there, and then you will have Komowo with setup, most likely with leftovers. You'll have Aurora Veil, Blizzard or Icy Wind, Disable or Encore from the Ninetales. You can have Toxic Debris or just the power of and the focus sash of the Glamora to go after Whimsicots, go after Kingames with Earth Power, go after Charizard with Power Gem, go after Sneaslers with Earth Power as well. Komowo, if it's soundproof, it's immune to Hyper Voice, which is what most fairies use. Ninetales can also do fairy damage, can do Blizzard, Moonblast, Aurora Veil, so this core is very interesting in itself. It's very matchup dependent. I don't think it's gonna go far. I think it's gonna be maybe used, I don't know, maybe not. If nobody uses it, I will not be surprised. You know, I'll not be disappointed as well. I think it's a very interesting core, and you can run Charizard in there, you can run Scovillain in there, you can run Frostlass in there and have two Snow Setters, you can run, you can even make a Rain team in there with Arch, Pelly, Swampert, you know, you can make T-Tar Excadrill in there, you can put a Whimsicott in there, a Kingambit in there, a Basculegion in there, Trick Room as well. I think it's a core that allows for a lot of teams to be built around it, a bit like Tail Room as well. But instead of the speed control, you have a lot of different techniques that can allow you to explore different matchups in different ways. But I don't think this is going to be very present in the first place. And then it's very matchup dependent, because then it depends on the Mega Evolutions that you're going to use, and it depends on like the items, the ability that you choose for your Komodo. If you go bulky or fast Mega Evolutions, it's a bit different. I think it has barely no chances of winning, but I think it's a very interesting core and I wanted to mention it. Next, falling behind, Whimsicott and Mega Metagross. So basically Tailwind and Mega Metagross. I think people were really expecting Mega Metagross to be very powerful, to be one of the top dominating Mega Evolutions, but it's not. It's not. It's weak to Garchomp, it's weak to Charizard, weak to Basculegion, weak to Kingambit. You can body press it, but you still take a lot of damage from Sucker Punch and from Kowtow Cleave. You know, it's weak to many things that are popular. It still takes good, very good damage from Sneasler, but it's like, it's still a Mega Metagross. It still does a ton of damage. It has access to Bullet Punch, physical steel type attack is always great, Psychic Fangs is always great, and then Whimsicott can make the opponent weaker, can go for Anchors, can make the Metagross faster. Metagross can break screens, which is like... Actually, I don't have any Grimmsnarl archetypes here, but I should have. Because I think Grimmsnarl can be very interesting in the core, you know, and I think it's really fallen behind. I wouldn't be as surprised if it wins as the other Sand cores, for example, that we see down there, but I think it has no chance as well, or very little chance. Then we have this, which I think it's better than normal Trick Room, better than that tree over there. I think it's better than... No, it's not. Which is Mega Garchomp, Life Orb Scizor, and T-Tar. Mega Garchomp being special. And we have to include this because this team surprised everybody and came out of nowhere. And I think it became very interesting. It's very powerful. And like I said, when we were talking about the Camerupt, on the Sun Room team, special ground type damage is really important. And then it has the Power Gem to beat the Charizards. It does a lot of damage with using the Sand Force ability in the sand, then Life Orb, Scizor, Swords Dance, Bullet Punch, Bug Bite. It's very good, but it's very matchup dependent. I participated in a tournament And my team, I had a Milotic, and that Milotic was destroying this team, you know? But it wasn't just a Milotic, I think it was Mega Blaziken and Mega Venusaur. So the Blaziken for the T-Tar and for the Scizor, and then the Milotic will take care of the rest, basically. So it's very matchup dependent, but it's very powerful, and we still have to respect it, I think. Will we see it at Worlds? Maybe. I think most likely not. I think people learned their lesson, and it's like it was cool for that time. It surprised people, but I don't think gonna see a lot of representation for it at Worlds. But it's still possible to do well. You know what I'm saying? Keep that in mind. Next, a team that I really like, and I think it's better than all of those. I think it's better than just Rain in general, because Rain is just a core archetype. It's Rain with Mega Dragonite. With that team, I went to my highest ranking in Pokemon Champions ladder in double teams, which is basically Rain, and then you have the Mega Dragonite with Hurricane and Thunder. And that you have so much coverage. The Dragonite in itself can hit the Basque Legions, can hit Grass types, can hit fighting types, can hit dragons, and then Darchaludon takes care of the fairies, the Swampert does a bunch of damage, and then I really like to lead Arch and Dragonite, or Arch and Swampert, and have Pelipper in the back, and then switch in the Pelipper depending on the route I want to go. I think a lot of people are not even considering that. I think there's a decent chance. I think it can surprise a lot of people, but I think you're not going to see much of it. I think people believe in Dragonite, but not in Dragonite Rain per se. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's really interesting, and I think it's a good team. Next up, Mega Venusaur in Rain. I think it's slightly fallen behind. I think it's stronger than everybody but Floette in this tier for sure. And I think that Whimsy Metagross is stronger than Trick Room Mobile. Venusaur in Rain makes a lot of sense, because you already take less damage from fire types, and that's Mega Venusaur by the way, because of your thick fat ability, and in the Rain you take even less damage from those fire types. And also you take away the snow, so Blizzard and Gyres are not so trusting in their Blizzard spamming abilities, but I think it's really fallen off. We barely see it anymore. When we do, it's kinda underwhelming, because Mega Venusaur, I think it just lacks power, it lacks juice. But I think it's an archetype we should talk about, we should be aware of. I will be very surprised. I'll be very surprised. I think it's the best of. I'll be very surprised if it makes a good run, you know? I think so. I think so. Very underwhelming in terms of damage, because of the Venusaur itself. Next, and then also before, it's very weak to Staraptor. But then you have Darts to counter it, then it just takes a close combat, you know, not great. Then we have Raichu Core. There's a great chance, I think, to make a deep run and they have a chance to win, which is just Raichu, Kingambit, Sneasel, just Raichu by itself, Raichu and friends, Raichu and support staff with an Incineroar, Sinistcha, because Raichu in itself is great in the metagame. The only thing it can't hit is the Garchomp, but you can have an Intimidator, you can have a Milotic with Ice Beam, or you can have a Ninetales to just get rid of the Garchomp, and then the Raichu in itself can beat everybody else, and then you can have Sucker Punch, Fake Out, Intimidate, you can have other coverage to just protect the Raichu, and you always bring the Raichu, it's always a problem, making everybody slower, hitting Focus Blast. It has also as Fake Out. You can have 3 Fake Out users. You can have Raichu, Incin, and Sneasler on the same team, and then Sucker Punch from Kingambit, Redirection from Sinistcha, and healing as well. And you can also hit Garchomps for good damage with Machagachas or Shadow Balls, you know, and I think it's awesome. I think it's a very good archetype, and I think people, again, are not considering solo Raichu. I think people need to consider Raichu and friends, Raichu as a solo Mega Evolution, because it's really powerful. and be supporting the Raichu, then you as the player, you don't need to choose between Raichu or Staraptor, and it's banger. It's a banger. Trust me. Then we have Rain plus Raichu, which I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's better than our boy here, Frostlass and Blaziken, because I don't think it's better than Raichu and Friends. I think. Because once again, I don't know how to explain, but Rain just it's falling off heavily. But with Raichu in there, it gains a new pair of wings that make it really strong. And Raichu being covered by Rain, it's so good. You have a even better matchup versus Charizard. You get the sand away or the snow away, and then you have Archaludon. You can bring the Raichu and use it as redirection for later type attacks with the Lightning Rod, protecting your Pelipper, for an example, or absorbing the damage from other Archaludons with Electro Shot if they decide to go for that. You have Fake Out, you can still Mega and go Focus Blast to beat other Archaludons, for an example. I think it's a very cool core and archetype, but I don't think it's going to be very strong. Also in the Rain can support a lot of stuff, but following behind is Rain plus Metagross. A lot of people experimented with it. Some people went far into some tournaments, but I think kind of like Venusaur in the Rain, slightly better though, it lacks power, I think. And then you have the classical Staraptor Whimsy, but with the Glumora, which we can say it's the same. Yeah, we can say it's the same, right? I don't think we need to add the Glumora in there, just to be a bit more specific, because we see that a lot on ladder. But it's basically the same. It has a great chance to make, because not only you have that, but you also have a Glumora that threatens Charizards, Poison, Earth Power damage into Sneasler, into King Gambit. It's pretty good. Then, something that I rarely see, I think it should go into... has a slight chance. You know, Charizard Frostlass. I think they cover each other pretty well. Charizard takes care of the King Gambits, Frostlass takes care of the Garchomps. Instant spread damage, they both fast, they both hit hard, we have double weather control. Actually, I wanna try that. I wanna try that on stream. I think that's gonna be very interesting. Then, slightly falling behind, or as a decent chance. Now, I think we still have to respect this. Sunflower. Charizard plus Floette. We still have to respect it. Once again, same problem as Charizard and Friends. People have fought that 11,000 times. They know what to expect. They know how to counter it. But it's still so powerful. Great coverage. They cover almost everything. I think what they don't cover is Raichu Y. Because Raichu Y is faster than Floette, they can make it slower, so the other partners can hit it. But Charizard beats the King Gambit, Floette beats Staraptor, for an example. Floette beats Garchomp. Charizard takes the weather away versus rain and snow and whatnot. I think it's pretty interesting. I think people still have to respect it. I think it's still very strong. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. Falling behind, Staraptor plus Sand. Yeah, I think Sand is really the worst weather. Because the only way to really use it is T-Tar Excadrill or Mega Garchomp. But Staraptor Sand was very common in the start of Regulation MB. But I think it really has fallen off immensely, and I think can't really pick up. What is cool is like you don't need to Mega the T-Tar, so you can have this very fast mode, and then with the Staraptor, which can be problematic, but I think it's easier to beat than other matchups we have here. But I think you still have to respect it, it's interesting. I don't know, I'm feeling like... I'm feeling respect for it, you know? I'm feeling respect. I think people have been trashing it, forgetting about it a bit too much. It can surprise us, but I don't think. Then Mega Gardy falling behind, but it's still a cool archetype because you have redirection, then you have spread damage with a guard that can be fast and hit hard, can be very bulky, can go Calm Mind. Como can also set up. It's a great way to deal with King Gambit, for an example, and steel types and poison types in general that Mega Gardy doesn't like to deal with. And Mega Gardy is technically Floette from Teemo, but it also has psychic type damage to counter the poison types. So it's a bit different than Floette. It's a bit weaker, but this core I think is interesting, and I always like to see it. And last but not least, Delphox and Floette. I think people also can't disrespect it. We've seen it less and less, but I think it's powerful. Like Charizard, they both... It's kind of the same, it's like immune to ground, weak to rock, but Charizard is 4 times weak to rock. Where the Delphox becomes weak to Sucker Punch and Dark types in general. But then it's kind of... Delphox and Floette is more like both of them go for setup and stuff like that. Where Charizard is a bit more direct, they don't set up, right? And I like it, I think it's strong, but I think it's like kind of... This mode, I think sometimes it's slow. It's slow to get going, and the enemy can get advantage earlier, and then those two powerhouses don't mean that much, because the enemy already has a lot of advantage. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's everything. That's a cool tier list. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. My favorites are Delphox, Blastoise, Sinistcha, Charizard, Toxapex, and Starchu. Yeah, bro, they are so powerful, they are breathing confidence to me. You know, I think they can beat a lot of the other teams. I think they can be really, really good into these World Championships. I think the worst are Sand. Now I'm feeling a bit like I'm disrespecting here Titar and Frostlass, so I'll bring them here. Better than Sand, better than Trick Room, better than Rain and Metagross. Yeah. Yeah, Floette on itself, I think it's a bit weak, yeah. I think Floette needs another partner, otherwise it's too easy to counter. The Gengars can be very tricky in the right matchup. Charizard Trick Room can be very interesting. That Garchomp, Mega Garchomp team, you need to respect it, can be very, very powerful. Raichu and Friends, very, very powerful. Star Fox. Sun Rain, Charizard Rain. Yeah, Charizard's still one of the strongest, right? You can't disrespect it. Oh, Mauish Gardy, I really like this type of team with Mega Gardy, you know? I wish it was a bit better or more there, you know? Oh, no, this is... Oh wait, I moved the wrong one. Sorry, it's this that I want. Yeah, I think Titar, Frostlass, much better than all of those. And Sarator Sand, much better than all of that. Guard is better than Mega Mobile Trick Room. Better than Metagross Rain, I think. Maybe not better than Metagross Tailwind. I mean, it's a lot of things to organize here now. I'm feeling Joker energies from Sunroom. Keep your eyes open. Also, I think, for me, the wild card will be Frostlass, Mega Blaziken. This thing can do so much damage. I think it's better than Raichu Rain. I think Tailroom is better than Raichu Rain. I'm feeling serious vibes from Mega Aerodactyl Floette. That can be good, And I really like... I think it's my favorite team so far. It's Rain with Mega Dragonite. Great coverage, but it struggles into Staraptor a little bit. It does. But also, I think you can use Swampert in the Rain, but then if the Staraptor is Whimsy, if it's like Starshoe with Whimsy, they can get it faster than you. And then you can't do much about it. The wild cards are 100% gimmicks though, that's their whole philosophy. Yes. Yes. They are here. I'm not forgetting about them. That's everything for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if I missed any cores. Let me know if I disrespected any core that you think deserves some respect. Let me know if you think I gave more respect to a certain core that you think deserves no respect. And keep in mind, some cores are here just because I think they are interesting, like this core over here, you know what I'm saying? And like me placing Sunroom in as a decent chance is just because I feel like they have like a very thin chance to surprise people and be very hard to stop if the player plays Trick Room really well. You know, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Alright, I like it. We have a lot of cores. And now, the thing is, 70% of people will use Charizard. You know what I'm saying? So many of these cores will not even be represented at a good level. But for an example, in this tournament, Charizard was very used, but it didn't make... It made top 4, but it didn't went to the finals. And in other previous tournaments, they didn't make top 4, they didn't make top 8. So a lot of people use Charizard, but it's harder for the Charizards to get into deeper parts of the tournament. And I think a lot of people that use Charizard just because they feel safe, not because they are good with it, and that's going to be their downfall. I think they should choose something a bit more surprising and something that fits a bit more their style. That's everything for today. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know your opinions down below. Give a like and subscribe, and catch me live on Twitch, YouTube and Kick at Tezasu Gaming. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. I think that's good. Yeah, I think like totally the Worlds is going to be won by a Mega Evolution that people are not expecting. Like Mega Pyrower, Mega Houndoom, maybe like Mega Golurk, Mega Chandelure, because people have been fighting Charizard for so long, they know how to beat it. Like there is no way Charizard even makes it to the final, because everybody knows how to beat Charizard. Do people know how to beat Crabominable? No. Do people know how to beat Barbaracle? No. Do people know how to beat Mega Banette? No. Same case for Sand. Yeah, Sand is very common. It's people know a lot about Sand, but Sand has not been here. People, oh, they're gonna bring Charizard. Boom, I switch in my T-Tar and I Rock Slide. What you gonna do now? Oh, I bring my Garchomp. I have my Garchomp too, and it's Sand Veiled. You can't hit it. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, don't even get me started with Dragonite and Frostlass. You can have 2 Blizzard users. 2 Blizzard users spamming Blizzard at the same time. It's crazy. You can do so much damage, you know? And then, like, Mega Metagross in the rain? Bro, what you gonna do about it? Bring your Charizard. I bring my Pelipper. Oh, I have Raichu. I have Swampert. Oh, I have Staraptor. Oh, I have Psychic Fangs. I have like, what you gonna do about this? You can't do anything. Bro, and Mega people, oh, Floette. He's the strongest Pokemon in the game. Bro, Gardevoir is so much better than Floette. Because we have Psychic to beat the poison types. You know? And it's much cuter. People don't want to hurt Gardevoir. People want to hurt the Floette. People don't respect the Gardevoir. They're gonna try and beat your Maushold and beat your Combo, and you're just spamming Hyper Voice. Oh, Dazzling Gleam, Dazzling Gleam, no, Hyper Voice. And then the secret core that people don't expect. Ninetales, Glamora, and Combo. Like, this is so versatile and can do so much damage and do so many shenanigans. People are not going to expect this. You better, like, Worlds will be won by these archetypes. Charizard, bottom there. No Charizard will even get close to top 8. It's too weak. People, the Charizard is strong, but people just know how to beat it. People just know how to play against it. It's like so difficult to lose to a Charizard right now. If you lose to a Charizard, you've been asleep. You started playing yesterday. And these people going to Worlds, they didn't start playing yesterday. They've been playing for months now. Versus Charizard, every single day, on the ladder, on the tournaments, against their friends. They know Charizard in and out, they know... The Charizard appears on the field, they just get a little bit of the scent, and they know what spread is it. They know if it's fast or slow, they know if it's bulky or not, because they played it so many times. And then, oh, Delphox and Blastoise, they're gonna win Worlds. No, too confusing to use The player that uses Delphox and Blastoise, they don't know what they want to do. Oh, this match, I don't know if I want to Blastoise, I don't know if I want Delphox, I have no idea. That's the problem. If you go T-Tar Sand, you know what to do. T-Tar Sand, Exodus Sand, I mean, that's it. Simple. You know, that's what you're gonna do. Charizard, Underground. See? Underground. They don't know what to do. They're not good anymore. Sorry, it's the truth. I speak from the heart, I speak from the truth. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for watching. I wish you the best. See you soon.